Alright, so as per request, I will be doing the two Trixie episodes and then giving my overall opinion of her character. Ignoring that, anyway, we begin with Trixie's debut in Boastbusters. This is the 6th episode of Season 1, and this is the episode where I actually started to realize the potential the show had. Now, let's go and watch it again to see if I was just being stupid and I wanted on a bandwagon, or if I had some actual ground to stand on. We open to see Twilight practicing her magic with Spike, when he suddenly says,
25 different types of tricks!
I'm sorry?
25 different types of tricks! And counting!
So, is Twilight your pet now? What's going on here? She even blushes when he says it, much like a pet would coo at an owner's praise. This isn't really an issue, it's more of a reading in between the lines that aren't there. However, I think it's quite funny since later on in the seasons, they basically state that Spike is Twilight's pet instead of the other way around. I really like how Twilight in this episode is not willing to accept any of the praise she receives, not only from Spike but all of her friends throughout the episode. This adds some layers to her character very early on, to know that she doesn't want to be super famous or recognized for her talents. She's just grateful that she has any at all. We introduce Snips and Snails running like mad colts to see the new unicorn in town. I have to say that, as their first appearance, I didn't enjoy it. I still don't. I hate these characters, and they're... I'm gonna do it. G3 character traits. All they ever do is swoon for the new sun pony in town, and they don't give any credence to any pony that doesn't like the new member. This seems to only happen with mares, of course, but they're still very cardboard, and it makes me unhappy to see this. I would love to see some development in them, and I think they would be really good colts in the show. However, they will probably never address these things, so I'll just have to move on. None of the Earth Pony or unicorns have cutie marks here. And is that? There's a literal Pegasus duplicate in the sky. Like the colors are barely even changed. While watching this, I realized something very wonderful. The production quality has more than doubled over the seasons, and I'm really happy that it did. They seem to take a lot more care in the new animations than they did or could in the older ones. It makes me smile to know that I watched this gradually happen, and then I got the chance to see the differences. I must agree here with my fellow pony analysts that the main six are never really provoked, and are, in fact, the provokees of the episode. They make Twilight feel bad for being so powerful, and speak in a way that she takes to include herself as well as Trixie. There is a silver lining, though. Rainbow Dash boasts a little bit herself, and Applejack snaps at her, causing Rainbow to turn dime and boo Trixie. This was funny to me because it seemed very in character for both parties. Despite the random lash at Trixie, this scene for me was actually quite an enjoyable one. The next problem I have is when Trixie, without provoking them, gets rushed by Rainbow Dash and is questioned harshly about why she uses her talent, which, by the way, even her cutie mark suggests itself that it's a magic show, in such a way. I understand that they were just starting, and I understand that Rainbow is the loyalist of ponies and such, but Trixie didn't do anything to deserve this treatment besides roll into town in her home and try to entertain some pony. It seems to me that Snips and Snails are the major catalysts in this episode. From boasting for Trixie, to treating her like royalty, to bringing an Ursa Minor to Ponyville, they are the biggest reason this conflict even exists. They don't need to be in the show. I'm sorry to all of you that like them, but really, they are just over-obsessive boys that want a mare friend, that can't get one, so they cling to any pony that looks good and seems confident enough to control them. Trixie issues a challenge, to which she calls Applejack. Applejack then lives up to her name and a farmer legacy with an admittedly cool rope show. Trixie, of course, wins that contest through magical rope manipulation. Rainbow Dash then runs to the plate, past it, into some clouds, twice, and back to the plate. The water cascades over her, creating a personal rainbow. Trixie uses her magic to make the rainbow spin around Rainbow Dash until she is off stage. Rarity then gets on stage, mistaking the encouragement by her friends for her instead of Twilight, and she creates a dress in about 3 seconds. Suited for success, any pony? And her hair is ruined by Trixie, causing her to run off crying. Spike tries to convince Twilight that she should face Trixie, being the most qualified, but Twilight still has many doubts on what she should do. Spike's mouth gets Trixie's attention, and Twilight freaks out, running away. For the sake of video length, I'm not going to mention Snips and Snails again. You know my thoughts. They're just stupid. Spike confronts the two about their belief in Trixie, and they head off to go find the Ursa Major, that she says she defeated. Twilight is having an internal conflict when Spike comes home, with him being the voice of reason. I love Season 1 Spike only because he actually has some character. He's lost it over time, definitely. He's trying to be an actual friend to Twilight and help her understand that she won't lose her friends if she uses her magic to make Trixie stop boasting. This is a great lesson because many children actually do not understand the difference between boasting and knocking an egomaniac down a few pegs. After the argument with Twilight, we find Spike being chased down by the Ursa Minor, who they mistake for an Ursa Major at the time. Snips and Snails go to Trixie while Spike goes to Twilight. Trixie is found by the Minor and is scared senseless. She runs out of her mobile home just before her house is crushed. Trixie tries to tie the monster up but cannot defeat it. The Ursa Minor begins tearing up Ponyville in a fit of rage. Twilight runs toward it and is surprised to see the Ursa Minor running freely. Trixie admits that she didn't actually defeat a Major, and Twilight begins to hone her magic. She uses it to create a wind that blows through some reeds and creates music that lulls the beast. She then gives the Minor a giant bottle of milk while rocking it with her magic. Twilight fears her friends now hate her, but her friends tell Twilight that Trixie's mouth was annoying them, not her magic. Lastly, Trixie, wounded and homeless, runs off from Ponyville to lick her wounds. Snips and Snails and... Never mind. Just never mind. At least they don't get the last line of the episode. Overall, I enjoyed this episode, but I think a couple of the characters were still being worked out. I also believe that Snips and Snails were replaceable characters and could have been done much better. And for that, I have to give this episode a 6 out of 10. Instead of, if Snips and Snails weren't there, I would have actually probably given this episode an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Thank you, every pony, for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.